Kirby's not a Pokemon.
Kirby and
Neither
Jigglypuff
Bowser Jr..
look alike.
Not Sonic.
Go with, why don't you go with Mewtwo?
Oh, Mewtwo. Oh, shit. I thought that was Dragon Ball Z for a second.
everybody. Guess what I found in an old file on the channel? Like, just sitting on my laptop in an old file, I found this old gift that I found. Gift with a T, because what's up, man? I have found this old webcam border. This was made for me a couple of years ago by a Twitch streamer. He, for fun, I don't know if he still does this or not, but he made, I have a burp right here. Oh, excuse me. But he makes webcam borders. And what he would do is that he'd jump into people's stream. He'd like sit outside streams and watch, like, oh, this person looks interesting, or this person looks cool. Let's just lurk for a little bit. And then he'd be like, let's see if I can make this person a webcam border without them knowing. So obviously, I ended up being one of these people. And so what ends up happening is he ends up trying to make me one that was music related. Because behind me at the time, I was in a different area. I had instruments on the wall like that behind me, similar to how I have my posters and such right now. And so he wanted to make one that was like music related. And so he could never crack that idea, but he eventually came up with this idea. Kensol, if you don't know, is my Twitch name, and it was the name of this YouTube channel before I changed it. And so he ends up making this entirely for free, gifts it to me, and hops into my stream, then decides to throw out this really awesome raid, and it was so much fun. Kevin, you know how you have to stop at red light and go at green light? Well, it's like you stop at Mario light and you go at Luigi light. I guess you could say it like that. Sorry, I was just clearing off my phone for a quick second. Just stuff was bugging me. I'm just out of sight, out of mind. But I mean, I was literally going through some files on my laptop. If it wasn't earlier today, then it was yesterday. And I see the file Kensol border. I'm like, no way. Is that it? Right when I was starting to get back into YouTube and I was starting to live stream just a little bit, I'm like, I wish I had that old webcam border because it was so cool. I love how it looks. And when I saw the file just sitting there on my MacBook, I'm like, oh, I had to shoot it over to my PC and just get it put back on here. So I got my old webcam border. People on YouTube aren't going to remember it. Yeah, Diva remembers it. How you doing, Diva? I found it. It's been missing for years. Because what ended up happening is I wiped my computer, I wiped my PC a couple of times between those old streaming days and, I don't know, the last couple of months or so. And it just, I guess I accidentally deleted it. I thought I had it saved in the cloud. I didn't. And I thought I'd lost it forever. Turns out it was just sitting right there in my computer, in my other laptop. I'm like, and I got whiplash by how quickly I sent it over. Oh, it was so much fun. Just finding that. I was like, I don't know if I was at work or... I say at work. I work from home. I work from here all day long. I spend like 12 hours a day sitting here. But why don't we go ahead and jump right into it. Zack Snyder's Justice League reminds me of Mario for some reason because of its rating. Mario... I don't think Mario is rated R there, bud. How's it going, Jado? Why don't we go and get started? I would love to get started with this whole idea of the ChatGPT AI sort of cinematic universe. I'm gonna recheck that poll I put out the other day. Just so that way Zack Snyder's Justice League is MA15 and MA15 is red. Oh, okay. Is it like a TV rating thing? Because, I mean, I feel like R is just the more commonly used term. And I'm gonna try to maybe edit this around a little bit, the whole webcam border, if possible, depending on how it kind of goes, just because it just kind of feels like, you know what? We'll see, maybe. I'm looking at the community post, the poll I put out the other day. Looks like we had a tie between Singularity and Nexus events to create metahumans, and then have characters' superpowers be based off of their biggest fear. Oh, excuse me. So, what I was thinking was use both of those ideas, but maybe like the first batch of heroes has their powers based off their biggest phobia, and then all sequential, all following heroes that would come, like how in the MCU we had like Iron Man and Captain America, Thor, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and the Hulk, right? Those are the original 6 Avengers, plus Nick Fury, Agent Coulson and Agent Hill. You have those like 6 heroes. We have our original heroes with at least some of the characters have their powers based off their biggest fear. And not every hero has to be that way, but it can be a theme throughout. Not playing any games, because I said that we were going to be doing this. That's the name of the stream. I had also posted that 3 days ago that we were going to be doing this at some point, and I figured me go out and give this a try today. Plus, I've been so busy, I have not been able to run through and check and get Arkham Origins working yet. So I didn't want to set up an Arkham Origins stream, which is of course the game we're trying to play right now, without knowing for 100% certainty that it was going to work. And since I haven't had the time, because I'm picking up at this new job and all these other things in my personal life, I didn't have the time to sit down and get that straightened away. So when it comes to streaming tonight, let's do something that is going to be really, really cool and something that we can all build together. I thought this would be just a really, really fun idea, and I figured, why not try to do this? So, let's go and hop right into ChatGPT. Here we are on ChatGPT. In Star Wars, son gets hand off cut. Son gets hand cut off, second father gets hand cut off. I mean, in Star Wars, yes, Luke does get his hand cut off, and his father, Anakin, did also get his hand cut off. If I remember right, it's both of their right hands, Dooku and Vader, respectively. So, if our first comment was that we want our characters to be born of a Nexus event, why don't we, and we also want to have, let's say, how many heroes do we want to be made by this event? How many, like, what's the term that they use? Ground zero heroes do we want to be born of this event? Or how should this event be caused? Let's answer that question first. Does anybody have any ideas before we start really pushing this universe together? Does anybody have an idea for how this nexus should be caused. Should it be caused by a character? Should it be caused by a should it be caused by a character? Should it be caused by a natural event of some sort, like a supernova? It's comic book bullshit, but I mean, still kind of fits. How do we want our nexus events, if we want to use like Loki terminology? What do we want our singularity, if you will? Ground zero. How do our heroes get their powers? Poseidon says an exploding neutron star. I like it. So, due to an exploding neutron star. So before we actually type everything in, just in case I don't accidentally say anything or, input anything. We have an exploding neutron star that, through comic book bullshit, will say that an exploding neutron star creates cosmic radiation that causes certain heroes from across the world to develop superpowers. These are not going to be just isolated in the United States or North America. This is going to be heroes from all across the planet. So why don't we say it is still super rare that someone would develop powers? Is it just like Fantastic Four, they just develop abilities? Or is there, say, a quarantine-like event? Like I said, I got this original idea that I suggested on the poll from the Infamous video games. In the Infamous video games, when their singularity was created, this caused a citywide quarantine. People got sick. A lot of people died. And all their life energy got formed into a singular being, which created a superhero. So, is this exploding neutron star also going to kill a lot of people? Or is it just going to hit some people a specific way to have them develop abilities? Say, 5 to 10 heroes and villains. That's where my brain is going. Less dead people route. So, less dead people, so it's more of a superpower granting rather than life-taking events. That's what I'm getting from this whole conversation. So, and why don't we have all the events from all the powers from this singular event? Their powers are based off of their biggest fear. So first things first, let's start ChatGPT. Let's get this started up. I'm gonna do it like this. Hello! Radiation passed over the planet and nobody really notices it. What if it's like a meteor shower? Like you see it similar to a meteor shower like the Aurora Borealis, where it's like people are outside, people are noticing it. But no one expects it to be anything like this. So I feel like if no one notices it, then it kind of makes it boring from Earth's perspective. If it's going to be this big event, then shouldn't it be noticed? I'm just pitching that question. To create a fake cinematic universe of original superheroes. I mean, that would be pretty, so that could work. Okay. Star Wars Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi? Empire. But in reality, it's one story, just broken up into 3 parts. So it's either original trilogy, prequel trilogy, or you're wrong. I mean, same time they're going to be noticing a star go bye-bye. That is true. Let's kickstart the universe with a Nexus. I'll add quotes. Nexus events / singularity We're gonna fight Kevin. Return of the Jedi is better. Return of the Jedi is in my top 4, and my top 4 are Revenge of the Sith, and this is no particular order. Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, and Empire. Those are my top 4 in no particular order. Return of the Jedi is up there with it, man. Which is going to be an exploding neutron star that creates an, how do I spell this? Aurora Borealis, like event over Earth. This creates... How many heroes and villains are we thinking? Are we thinking like 5 to 10 heroes and 5 to 10 villains? Equal number? Like, how many metahumans are going to be born of this? My top 5 in order are Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One... I can't even talk. Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, and Empire. And A New Hope. Okay. I was thinking on A New Hope. A New Hope is the quintessential Star Wars movie. If someone could only ever watch one Star Wars movie in their entire life and that is it, you show them A New Hope. But there's other better Star Wars movies. 5 and 10, give the heroes a challenge. So 5 heroes, 10 villains. I mean... Ooh, I just had an idea. What if the heroes' powers are based off their biggest fears, while the villain's power is based off their best trait? So that way it's even... In that sense, it's more against the hero. So like the example I gave is someone who's afraid of heights is gifted the ability to fly. That's the idea that I had. For every hero, there should be about 5 villains. That is insane. Every hero, there should be about 5 villains. So basically, Brady, what you're saying is every hero. Also, how are you doing tonight, Brady? I can't believe I didn't ask that. But how, like, every hero should get its own small rogues gallery. That's what you're thinking. Every villain gets their own sinister. Every hero gets their own sinister 5. Or every. Oh yeah, you get 5 villains. So essentially we're making 30 heroes is what I'm understanding now, is 5 heroes and each hero gets 5 villains. So that's 25 villains and 5 heroes, 30 metahumans born across the world. So this is done across the planet. So okay, so I like that idea that every hero has their own set of rogues gallery. Their own rogues gallery. Have you seen The Fate of the Furious? I have not seen any Fast and Furious movie but the first one. That's the only one I've ever seen. I've only ever seen the first Fast and Furious movie. Let's do that. Let's do 5 heroes. Each hero gets its own set of 5 villains. Let's have then each hero's power based off their biggest fear. Just popped in, doing... So I'm a little behind. That's perfectly fine. We haven't started yet, so we're just trying to make sure that when we start this and what we input, things are things that we can all get behind at some level, and we're clear, so when things get inputted into ChatGPT, it's going to spit us out all of that juicy goodness. And that's going to be the fun part, is seeing what ChatGPT can kind of come up with. So no one knows what we're going to run into. So I'll make sure I get this correct. This is going to... The Nexus event or Singularity, which we had agreed that we're going to kind of do both, as the poll was tied on the channel between the heroes having powers based off their biggest fear and the Nexus events. So, we have the Nexus event and Singularity. Poseidon had the idea of it being an exploding neutron star. I like it. Very comic book feel, you know. It kind of has like a Fantastic Four feel to it, in my personal opinion. This creates an Aurora Borealis-like event that happens over Earth. This creates a total of 30 metahumans across the globe. 5 of these metahumans will be heroes, where each hero will get 5 villains. Where each hero gets 5 villains. Total 25 villains. Went Fantastic Four for your sake, Kevin. I knew you'd like the aspect. How many movies are we thinking? Like, for this universe? Until it stops being interesting. But I'd like to see if we can at least get, you know, one full-length video out of this. I think that'd be really cool to have a full-length video kind of summarizing each live stream or each 2 live streams or something like that. Where each hero would get 5 villains, total of 25 villains, so now it's obviously 30 metahumans born across the globe. Let's have each hero get their respective power based off of their greatest fear/phobia, while each villain gets their power based off of their greatest I'll just say traits. I won't say individual trait. Please give me a summary of let's even say a detailed summary. Okay, so you're going to need some sort of climactic event in the vein of Endgame to do this, because that's what we're... Pretty much. This might be a longer series. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This idea kind of popped into my head. I've done some thinking about how it's going to start. You know, I'm like, that concept, like, okay, let's start with the concept of how the heroes are born. The MCU started out with kind of like heroes just kind of appearing, more or less. The DCEU is trying to, or the James Gunn's DCU is going to be like, characters already happen to exist in his universe, and the DCEU was kind of a mixture of that. I want this to, like, I figured an idea for be like, let's have there be an event that causes all the heroes to appear, so it's like our world becomes overnight this world with metahumans. And that's kind of where my brain was like, okay, let's see if we can come up with that kind of idea to kind of push this. I gotta sneeze right here. Oh, excuse me. So that's like, I wanted to get some sort of push to get this thing going, and I figured this would be a great way to kind of start, is come up with a concept that, you know, a lot of the heroes and villains are going to kind of adhere to. So that way it kind of keeps us all, like, that whole idea of, like, constraints breeds creativity. So I don't even know how to pronounce that. Oh, Gesundheit. Okay. They know how to spell it. It's German. Who knows how to spell German? Please give me a detailed summary of each and every character. Things like their names, city, country of origin, you mean other than my dad? Yes. Their greatest fear and the power they have that goes with it. For the heroes, their greatest power and the greatest fear and the power that goes with it. For the villains, their greatest trait and their power that goes with it. Please give me a detailed summary of each and every character, things like their names, city or country of origin, for the heroes specifically. Give me their greatest fear and the power that goes with it. For the villains, give me their greatest trait and the power that goes with it. Alright, let me go and summarize this before I input it. Hello. I would like to create a fake cinematic universe of original superheroes. Let's kickstart this universe with a Nexus event / singularity, which is going to be an exploding neutron star that creates an Aurora Borealis-like event over Earth. This creates a total of 30 metahumans across the globe. 5 of these metahumans will be heroes, where each hero will get a total of 5 villains, totaling 25 villains. And let's have each hero get their respective power based off their greatest fear / phobia, where each villain also gets their power based off their greatest trait. Please give me a detailed summary of each and every character, things like their names, city / country of origin. For the heroes specifically, give me their greatest fear and the power they have that goes with it. And for the villains, give me their greatest trait and the power that goes with it. Wonder how smart the AI is, if it'll be able to do this correctly. I have done stuff similar to this. This is probably the largest command I've ever put into ChatGPT. 3, 2, 1, sent. Certainly, let's create a unique and intriguing cinematic universe with the given concept. Nexus event is an exploding neutron star. I'm gonna keep scrolling up, so that can keep scrolling. We'll get to that in a minute. A neutron star explodes, creating a global phenomenon resembling an Aurora Borealis. This event grants extraordinary abilities to individuals across the globe, turning them into meta-humans. Heroes. We have Spectra Surge from Reykjavik, Iceland. Greatest fear, claustrophobia. Control over energy waves and the ability to create protective force fields. That is low-key awesome. Hero, Phoenix Guardian. City of origin, Cairo, Egypt. Greatest fear, the fear of fire. Power, pyrokinesis, of course. Hero, Chrono Warden from Tokyo, Japan. The fear of losing loved ones. Jeez, time manipulation and allowing the ability to slow, stop, or even reverse time briefly. That is a cool power. Never expected that to be the fear that goes with it. Hero, Aerosylph. Good on, I want to write this down. Aerosylph from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The fear of heights. I saw this one coming. I'm like, this is like I knew when I came up with the idea of the fear of heights and flying. I'm like, flying is like the superpower. Acrophobia is one of the biggest fears. It's gotta exist somewhere. So I knew there was going to be some sort of flight thing. And I love how they gave it to Brazil, because I forget the name of that statue that they have in Brazil. Isn't it of Jesus? Send me an SS of this. Maybe after we're done. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, you have it right here, and the VOD's not going down. This is on YouTube, man. This is, you know, you're watching this off YouTube. The VOD's gonna be here forever. It's right here. Sorry, I just got a text message. I'll get back to that in just a minute. Hero, Psionic Oracle from New York, New York. The fear of the unknown, telepathy, telekinesis, and precognition, granting insights into future events. So, our AI-made Justice League, or Avengers, if you will, we have Spectra Surge, who has the ability of creating energy waves and force fields. We have Phoenix Guardian, who has pyrokinesis. We have Chrono Warden, who is a time manipulator. Aerosylph, flight and control over air currents, enabling manipulation of weather patterns. Ooh, I didn't catch that. So basically, Aerosylph is like almost like a combination of, is basically Storm from the X-Men. And then Psionic Oracle is kind of like a Madame Xanadu from DC. So basically you have the Invisible Woman. I don't know if this is like a Pyro from X-Men or a Human Torch from Fantastic Four kind of pyrokinesis with Phoenix Guardian. I'm guessing more Pyro from X-Men. Chrono Warden, that's kind of like Blink in the X-Men, where she can kind of do time manipulating. Not Blink. It wasn't Blink. That was Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde could go through walls, and she's the one who put Wolverine back in time in Days of Future Past. Forget I said Blink. Aerosylph is just your basic. Aerosylph is essentially Storm. We don't know we don't know much more about these characters other than these. And then of course Psionic Oracle is your Madame Xanadu kind of, precog of the team. So essentially your big hitters are going to be your Phoenix Guardian and Aerosylph. Chrono Warden is going to be your support, if you will. And then Spectre Surge is going to be your defense, your healer, and then Sonic Oracle is going to probably be your team leader. Hey Kevin, do you like Stranger Things? Fun fact, never seen an episode. I've never seen an episode of Stranger Things. Nothing against it, I just haven't watched it. I have zero opinions towards it. I know a lot of people like it. Let's take a look at these villains that we've gotten. Alright, Shadow Maven. Shadow Maven's greatest trait is deception, and so there is invisibility and the ability to manipulate shadows. Oh, and by the way, I think it goes without saying, but if any of you have ideas for how you'd want to continue, just blurt it out in chat, and I will do my absolute best to keep up with you guys and implement what we all think is a good idea. And if you think somebody has submitted an idea that you think is a great idea, then just, also let me know, and we'll go through it. So, Villain 2. This is going to take a bit, so we're just going to kind of fly through the villains a little bit. Villain, Inferno Tyrants. Your greatest trait, ambitions. And so, Inferno Tyrants' power is to generate and control intense heat, creating fire-based attacks. So it sounds like it's similar to Phoenix Guardian. I figured we might get some power overlap. Sometimes AI isn't super... sometimes AI can do this, I've noticed. Temporal Enchantress. I love these names. They're all two word names too. Manipulation. Time distortion, allowing her to age or de-age objects and people. Kind of like Krona from Green Lantern. Cyclone Marauder is adaptabilities, the greatest trait. Shape-shifting and control over the elements, particularly wind and storms. So Aerosylph, but with shape-shifting element to it instead of flight. Mind Paragon has intellect, mind control over telepathic manipulation. The remaining 20 villains follow a similar pattern, each drawing upon their greatest traits, creating a dynamic and challenging array of adversaries for our heroes. The cinematic universe is now set to explore. It didn't even give me the other 20 villains. I'm just gonna take the executive decision and let's see if we can find these other 20 villains. And to assign the villains as best as possible to each hero. So we get the 5 villains per hero. So I'm going to take that executive decision to find out who these other 20 villains are and to have them paired up with their heroes. So like these 5 villains would be paired up to Psionic Oracle, number 5 on the heroes. I'm going to just take that right now. Can you give us the other 20 villains and assign each hero their There's rogues gallery as a term. I forget what the other term is, but there. Can you give us the other 20 villains and assign each hero their group of 5 villains? And we will use our proper, manners, and also add in a please. Sinister 5. I like it. Or, since we have this opportunity, do you want to call them the Sinister 5, everybody? Like Poseidon is suggesting? Or, also I'm noticing something really quickly. I'm going to take a quick second. Chat's not showing up on... Chat hasn't been showing up on the stream itself, right? It's just been in your guys' chat boxes. Like it's just been on YouTube. It has not been on over that Pegasus in the corner. So it should be over the Pegasus in the corner. Wanted to drop in and say hello. I'm about to go sleep soon. Hope you have a good night. Thank you, Jedi Connor. You have a great night as well. So, why is chat not working? Uh-oh, the Sinister 5. Sinister 5 crime families. My only critique is that isn't that a bit wordy? I feel like that's a little bit wordy. Like I think of like Legion of Doom, the Sinister 6 or Sinister 5 in this case. Crime family does exist in comics, or even in real life with mob bosses. You have the Black Order. You have names are usually pretty concise. That's my only thought with it. Do we all want to go with Sinister 5 crime families? I mean, we'll go for it. I just wanted to just kind of check. Alright, why is chat not working? Fair, let me think. Okay. While you think, I'm gonna see if I can get chat fixed here. A little wordy? Yeah. What we could do is we could ask ChatGPT to give us an idea for what to do with I was just saying we could ask ChatGPT if you want to. It's kind of a mixture of me, you guys, and ChatGPT. And for me, I'm perfectly fine with my ideas just coming through kind of these kind of conversations and just coming up with general ideas that you or ChatGPT would expound on. All right, why the hell is chat not working? Alright, see if this fixes the issue. Alright, we'll see if that worked. Thank you so much for following. Were you not following me? Not be boosting viewers. I thought I was. That's fine. Just so you know, I don't have a viewer count up at all. I don't know how many viewers show up in a stream until after it's over. I find I focus better if it's like that. Also, why the hell is chat not showing up? What the hell? Alright. If you guys aren't bothered by chat not being on the screen, then I guess we don't need it, but I want to get it fixed. If no one's coming up with an idea, I mean, at the end of the day, we could just pick Sinister 5 or Crime Family. Or a Crime Family. We could have each group of villains just be called a Crime Family. And have the entire, like, the entire group of villains be named something else that ChatGPT could name. Or have it be the Sinister 5. Each villain set is a Sinister 5, but the entire 25 group villain team is the Crime Family. So you have the one Crime Family made up of 5 separate Sinister 5s. That's an idea of using both ideas. Now, why is chat not working? Does the Fearsome 5 already exist? Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. Let me try something really quickly. Excuse the page changing here. Let's see if that works. Which it doesn't look like it is. We might have to just go without chat, guys, unfortunately. Because I've tried a few different things, it doesn't look like it's gonna be cooperative. Oh, there. That sort of worked. It showed up from Twitch's end. Oh, there it is from YouTube. Okay. So it looks like chat is working on my end. So this is interesting. But how do you feel about Sinister 5 or Fearsome 5? You see it? Awesome! Chat is fixed. Oh god. Okay. That add-on is on the stream itself. So the fact that you're seeing the stream on both YouTube and Twitch means it's going to be on both YouTube and Twitch. I found this when I was looking at Red Steve versus Green Steve on Google Images. What'd you end up finding? Red versus Green, Red Steve versus Green Steve on Google Images. What did you end up finding? Here, why don't we go with... So what are you thinking, Sinister or Fearsome 5? I think we should call the whole Red Minecraft Steve versus Green Minecraft Steve. Okay, like... But what did you find? You said you found this when looking for Red and Green Minecraft Steve. You haven't said what this is. I'm curious. But why don't, kind of going back to this really quick. Why don't, I'm going to make that decision that we're going to call the group of 25 villains the crime family, where each subset, I'll have you guys decide Sinister or Fearsome 5. Found an image and a video link. Well, I don't allow links in my chat. It's, each group is a Sinister 5. The whole group is the Fearsome 5 families. I don't know. I feel like I feel like that's too different. That just sounds, again, kind of getting into the wordy thing, because I feel like this should be like a shoot from the hip, sort of quick and very, you know, easy to just kind of rattle off a name. Why don't we, we're gonna stick to crime families for the whole group. What should we do for the small group of 5 villains? Either that or I'm gonna make an executive decision again. Can you give us the other 20 villains and assign each hero their group of 5 villains, please? Then also name the Fearsome 5 sounds better. We'll go with Fearsome 5. Of 25 total villains, the crime family, where each hero's set of things Sinister should be with a Sinister 6 only. I think that's a good decision. I like Fearsome too. It's like, plus with the heroes, their powers being off their fear, it kind of keeps it on brand a little bit. Do I like Spartans? Like the Greek Spartans? Like Leonidas and 300, that kind of Spartan? Or are you talking like Master Chief, Halo kind of Spartan? I like both, so I mean the answer's yes either way. We don't need to decide a name right now, we can come up with names later. Fair enough. Why don't we then stick with crime family for the entire group? We can come up with a name for individual heroes' sets of villains later. We'll stick to just crime family. Alright, let's make sure we have this right. Can you... Roman Spartans. Yes, I do like... Oh, yeah, they're Roman. I don't know why I said Greek. Can you give us the other 20 villains and assign each hero their group of 5 villains, please? Also, I'm going to add this as well. Please give all characters their real human name and gender. So, here they are. We got each character's group, and we have each of the 25 villains now. Alright, my watch is yelling at me. I'm gonna take my watch off. It keeps buzzing like every 2 minutes, and it's really annoying, and I'm trying to focus. I'm gonna set that down there, just so it's not bugging me. Okay, here we go. We now have a group of every hero's bits. We have the crime family. Who's texting you? It's not just texts, it's other things. And I'm not going to disclose that information because I don't need to disclose that on the internet. It's personal stuff. So, in Shadow Maven's group, we have Fears and Deception. Wait. This just gave us the 25 villains, but it didn't assign them to the heroes. So let's hear the groups of villains, and then we'll see which team gets assigned to the heroes. We'll ask that next. So let's just take a look at the groups here. Shadow Maven's group, which Shadow Maven was the villain with deception and is all about invisibility and manipulating shadows. So her name is Isabella Drake. She also works with Mirage Lurker, Victor Shadow, Illusionist Veil, Alara Shade, Phantom Deceiver, Ethan Noir, and Enigma Illusionist, Celine Hayes. Inferno Tyrant's group is Inferno Tyrant, who's Damian Blaze, Ember Conqueror, Olivia Ignis, Blaze Overlord, Marcus Pyro, Scorch Sovereign, Natalia Incendia, Flame Monarch, Xavier Ember, Temporal Enchantress's group, which is... Oh, they're all about fears. Oh, fears and deception, fears and ambition, fears and manipulation. Okay. Temporal Enchantress is Sylvia Krona. Time Weaver is Leon Tempest. Chrono Sorcerer is Ava Manipula. Ageless Enigma is Nolan Shift. And Eon Sorceress is Maya Timea. Timea? Let's go with Timea. So it's not just Tima. Timea. I think we broke it. It's giving us the best it can. This is what happens when you just give it a lot of information. It is really just... It's basically giving us 5 different versions of the same character. Just to kind of complete this, we have Cyclone Marauder's group, which is all about adaptability with its fear. Cyclone Marauder is Zephyr Adaptus. Storm Shifter is Stella Gale. Gale Chameleon is Felix Cyclone. Tempest Mimic is Aurora Borealis. Whirlwind Morph, is Owen Tornado. Oh, good lord. Hi Parker, how's it going? We have 25 villains, but really just 5 of them, and they're multiplied 5 times each. Mind Paragon is Xavier Psyche. Cerebral Maestro is Evelyn Sage. Intellect Manipulator is Victor Mensa. Psionic Strategist is Lila Lagos. And Neural Virtuoso is Maxwell Quanta. The crime family consists of these 25 villains, each with unique powers and personalities. No, you have 5 unique powers and 5 unique personalities, multiplied 5 times. Oh my god. We'll fix this later. We can come up with new villains as time goes on. But who knows? It might be interesting to have different villains have the same powers, but work in the same team. That might be it. That might be so out there because we're so used to teams in superhero media to each character have a different power. What if every character has the same power, but they have different personalities, and so you're seeing different sides to the same powers. Like we scroll up here. Like we can assign personalities to each of these heroes in each of these settings, right? So what we could do, is we could have Shadow Maven is all about deception, and her powers are invisibility and manipulate shadows. What if, since she's all about deception, she's more into the invisibility side of her powers, whereas everybody else in her team is more about manipulating the shadows, and then you have differing levels of that, or the villains have different motivations or modes of operating personalities. I like that. So let's start with, do we want to go straight into this then? So what we can do here, actually, should we, because we found that if we give ChatGPT too much information in a single command, that things tend to come out pretty dry. Let's do 2 smaller commands. Let's assign each group of 5 villains to the heroes. Let's do that next. And then we'll go through each set of villains and have ChatGPT, and we'll just ask ChatGPT to come up with the different motivations and then MOs. or modus operandi, the way they operate with their personality. So let's assign the villains to the heroes, then in a separate command, ask for, and this will be over 5 separate commands, each group of villains to then have it give us very detailed, we'll add in the word very, a detailed description of each of their motivations, MOs, and personality. But they all have the same powers. It'd be cool. So it'd be something unique about it. So first things first, let's assign the villains. So please assign this each group here to each. Please assign a group of 5 villains to each of the 5 heroes listed above. That's it. We'll get to the other details later. Okay, it's getting it. Okay. Okay, so they gave the okay. Why don't we do this? I want a quick suggestion. Should we change around Phoenix Guardian, who's essentially all about fire anyways? Either change his villain's powers or his power to something else, because that's essentially 6 fire characters. I'm just gonna kind of let that sit for a minute, because this whole group here is literally all just the ability to manipulate fire. That's it. That's all this is. Alright, now let's start from the top and work our way to the bottom. Starting with Spectra, Surge is... Wait, we don't have the details of each of the heroes. We don't know anything other than their superhero name, their place of origin, and their fear and their power. That's all we know is their superhero name, city of origin, fear, and power. That's it. So I think we should also try to find their information later. Each of PG's villains are based on different element than he is based on fire. So he has the most variety in terms of villains, and everybody else has each of their villains be the same power, but their personalities, MOs, and motives, or I guess yes, pretty much just boiling down to their MOs and personalities, be different, so they use different aspects of their powers. But Phoenix Guardian's powers are still the villain's powers are still based in the basic, you know, in Avatar of course you have, you know, air, water, earth, and fire, but maybe you add in like, you know, lightning, you add in lava, you add in ice. So like a lot of in Avatar you'd have like those sub bendings. You know, you'd have that just be a separate power altogether. You just split ice and water. You split lightning and fire. You split lava and earth. They let that sit really quickly as well. So for right now, let's just go to Spectra Surges. Or actually, really quickly, let's just do... No. We'll just stick with this for now. Dominic Toretto or Star-Lord. Star-Lord would win in a fight, but Dominic Toretto has plot armor, so... that's pretty tough to break, so... I don't know, probably Star-Lord. We got, starting with Spectra Surge's team of villains. Let's have all of them share the same powers, though, or here, ... though, let's give each of them, villains, just to be clear, differing motives, modus operandi, which is MO spelled out. I don't know if this would understand MO, so I'm just gonna say modus operandi, which is what it stands for. And personalities. Detailed, differing and differing motives, modus operandi, and personalities. Okay. Yeah, kind of. I was thinking PG's villains could be unique amongst each other. For the first one, the claustrophobic one, for other name, can have all the same powers, and we go through the rest. Okay, yeah, we'll take this, a group of villains, a hero and villains at a time. One thing we want to get to eventually, definitely by the time the stream is done, is come up with detailed bios of at least each of the heroes. We can figure out villains later. Let's go with finding out the qualities of our heroes. We kind of have a quantity of villains. So since we only have 5 heroes, let's really get detailed elements from our heroes. Let's learn a lot about them. With the villains, we got a lot of them, so let's try to get basics of them figured out. And then eventually when we get enough details and we start making, the movies, whether that's tonight or whether that's later, depending on how much information we realize we want to get before we make those, we'll just cross those bridges when we get to it. Let's take our time and build this up the right way. That's what I'm just really thinking here. So, starting with Spectrosurge's team of villains, let's have all of them share the same powers. Though, let's give each of them, the villains, detailed and differing motives, modus operandi, and personalities. This way, it creates a unique blend. My keyboard is acting up. Oh, no. Shit. Stop. Where's the stop? Should we just reset? I didn't mean to press enter. I accidentally pressed enter. Let's just reset, see what this gives us. Whoops. That's essentially what I was going for anyways, so... Alright. Let's see here. Starting with Mirage Lurker, Victor Shadow. Motives. Victor seeks to establish a shadowy criminal empire. Using his powers for... What did you do? It just popped in there. The only thing that brought me any sort of comfort in my childhood. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. When someone says, "Are you a god?" you say, "Yes!" I understand the reference. Victor seeks to establish a shadowy criminal empire using his powers for stealthy infiltration and manipulation. His modus operandi, he prefers to strike from the shadows, gathering information and creating chaos unnoticed. And his personality is that he is calculating, he's mysterious, and enjoys the psychological impact of instilling fear. Alright, so the only thing I was going to add in was just the detail that it creates a unique blend of villains that have the same powers, but they're used differently. Which, that's what I said here, so we're going to get the same stuff either way. Illusionist Vale, who is Alara Shade, she is driven by a desire for revenge against those who've wronged her in the past, using illusions to deceive and confuse her enemies. Her MO is that she can create intricate illusions to distract and mislead, making it difficult for heroes to discern reality. She is brooding, harboring a dark past, and uses illusions to as a form of emotional armor. I almost said psychological armor. This group of villains does seem very psychological in nature, just because it is kind of feeding into that fear aspect. Which, speaking of fear, if you haven't watched my theme for Scarecrow, my theme song for Scarecrow, after we're done with the stream, I highly suggest listening to it because I put a lot of work into it, and I'd love for you guys to give it a chance. I'd love for you guys to give it the chance to see if you like it. So let's move on to the villain number 3. We have the Phantom Deceiver, or Ethan Noir. Mordecai from regular show or Star-Lord, who's the winner? I mean, Mordecai gets into situations where he tries to get a horse to pass the U.S., citizenship test, and by the end of that episode, he's trying to stop God from invading stop a random god from invading Okinawa. That's like every other episode involving regular show, so considering this the craziness that Mordecai and Rigby have to get up to, which I'm now just looking at Mordecai. I don't know. Probably I'd stick with Star-Lord, but I mean, Mordecai's gonna put up quite the fight just because he's ready to expect anything. So Star-Lord can't rely on his he cannot rely on the element of surprise with Mordecai, because Mordecai's ready for literally anything. Ethan aims to expose corruption within powerful organizations using his powers to reveal hidden truths. His MO is that he targets high-profile figures using his invisibility to gather evidence and make impactful revelations. His personality is that he is idealistic with a strong sense of justice but willing to resort to morally gray methods. So I feel like this guy could be kind of like our, kind of switches over to the good guys every now and then, or maybe he's a villain that might win in the end but ultimately go to jail or die for what he believes in, kind of thing. It kind of could be an interesting character here. We'll see what ChatGPT eventually comes up with. Now we have Enigma Illusionist, or Celine Hayes, one of the coolest names I think ChatGPT's come up with so far. She craves chaos and anarchy, seeking to disrupt societal norms and challenge authority. Her MO is that she creates illusions on a grand scale, causing widespread panic and confusion. Her personality is that she is chaotic, unpredictable, and revels in the unpredictability of her illusions. And finally, we have Shadow Maven, or Isabella Drake, our leader of this team. She aims to control the criminal underworld, using her mastery over shadows to instill fear and command loyalty. Her MO is that she operates from the shadows, pulling strings to manipulate events and people. She is ruthless, strategic, and sees herself as the puppet master behind the scenes. I feel like her and Phantom Deceiver are two sides of the same coin, where Phantom Deceiver kind of errs on the side of kind of doing things for what he believes are the right reasons. He's the hero in his own eyes, where Shadow Maven is a villain and she knows it. And she just doesn't care. I feel like this is a really cool concept where we have 5 characters who have the same powers. They use them differently, based on their personalities, based off of their MOs, and they all have different motives. It's a cool concept. I like this. This is really cool. All right, now let's go and figure out Phantom. What's his name? Phoenix Guardian, right? Phoenix Guardian. We had said Brady had come up with the idea of each of them having different elements for their powers. So let's just say this. Please repeat the last instructions with Phoenix Guardians villains. But I also want each of their villains power, or I'll add an apostrophe, powers to be swapped with a different element. Do we want one of the villains to keep fire, or do we want them all to switch? So the Phoenix Guardian is the only one with fire. Please repeat the last instructions with Phoenix Guardians villains. Involving providing us all to switch. All right. Us with the modus operandi and personalities. Though with Phoenix Guardian villains. Also, I want each of their villains' powers to be swapped with the different elements, so none of them have fire for a power anymore. Also, let's also change their names, since all their names are based off of fire. Also, please change their names accordingly. In Star Wars Episode 3, what if Yoda fought Anakin and Obi-Wan fought Palpatine? Yoda would probably have been able to save Anakin, but Obi-Wan would have died to Palpatine. Easy. No, Anakin would probably have gone all out on Yoda. That one's a bit unsure. Palpatine would have killed Obi-Wan, for sure. So, at best, case scenario, maybe Anakin and Yoda just kind of stalemate, similar to how Palpatine and Yoda did. But the only difference is now Palpatine kills Obi-Wan. That's how I'd see it, is that Obi-Wan and Anakin would stalemate, but Obi-Wan and Palpatine would... Obi-Wan would be killed by Palpatine. So, that's it. Please repeat the last instructions involving providing us with modus operandi and personalities, though with Phoenix Guardians villains. But I also want each of the villains' powers to be swapped with different elements, so none of them have fire for a power anymore, and also please change the names accordingly. Boom! Certainly, let's give Phoenix Guardians' team of villains swapped elements of powers no fire, and provide each of them with distinct modus operandi and personalities. Their names are the same. They didn't change the names. So we'll have to... I'll let you guys decide if we want to actually keep the names, since fate just kind of kept us with them for right now, or if we want to change them really quickly. So, I'll just say villain number 1. Olivia seeks to become master of elemental manipulation, desiring control over all aspects of nature. Creates powerful storms and manipulates the weather to wreak havoc on cities, and she's ambitious, commanding, and views herself as a force of nature. Marcus desires to harness the power of earth and stone, aiming to reshape landscapes for personal gain. He causes seismic disturbances and manipulates the earth to disrupt infrastructure. His personality is that he is stubborn, determined, and sees himself as the true ruler of Earth. Now, I don't know if he's talking about the element Earth or the planet Earth, but either way, very villainous. Natalia seeks to control the currents of the oceans, using water manipulation for both offense and defense. She creates tsunamis and floods to drown cities, asserting her dominance over aquatic elements. She is fierce, regal, and believes in the power of water's relentless force. Xavier aims to master the powers of wind and air, seeking the ability to move freely across the skies, summons powerful gusts of tornadoes to disrupt transportation and communications, and is free-spirited, adventurous, and values the untamed nature of wind. So, for all of us who have seen The Legend of Korra, he's effectively Zahir. And then we have Damien, no longer tied to fire, now seeks dominion over the flora and fauna. So now we have 2 nature villains, which I think that's okay. Manipulating plant life for his gain. Like maybe like the all aspects of nature. Maybe that's instead of like all aspects of nature, that's more like animal manipulation. So like it can manipulate like how Aquaman can manipulate ocean life. This person can manipulate any non-human life. Maybe. Damien no longer tied to fire, now has control over plants and fauna, essentially making him poison ivy. Controls and manipulates plant life, turning landscapes into overgrown wild environments, and is calculating, nature focused, and sees himself as the guardian of the planet's ecosystems. I like him. Why don't we finish this idea? Or how about this? Actually, I need to run to the and take a quick bathroom break. Why don't you guys find out if you want to give me a second here. For the remaining heroes and villains, I'll keep this tab up in the BRB page. I'll let you guys kind of talk amongst yourselves. And when I get back, we'll get this figured out. This is not working the way that I wanted it to. So I'll leave this up in all right. How does that look? I'll let you guys decide if you want to have them all keep their powers, or if you want them all to switch up the villain's powers and whatnot. So I'll leave that right there. That's who's left. I'll be right back from the bathroom in just a couple of minutes. Adios. Okay, I'm back. Were any ideas made? If not, we can just make those right now. So, we have Chrono Warden and his villains of Time Weaver, Chrono Sorcerer, Ageless Enigma, Eon Sorceress, Temporal Enchantress, Arrow Sylph, who has villain Stormshifter, Gale Chameleon, Tempest Mimic, Whirlwind Morph, and Cyclone Marauder. Arrow Sylph's villains, should allow technology dictate their powers as opposed to metahuman capabilities. So, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just thinking here. If Arrow Sylph's villains become technologically based, then that's less characters that are affected by the overall event. So now we go from 30 to 25 affected people from the event. That's just what I notice. I'm also going to make a couple quick notes just to myself really quickly. So, Arrow Sylph's villains should all have technology, dictate their powers as opposed to metahuman capabilities. I like the idea. Is there anything else with that you want to add in before we implement it? And we can do Arrow Sylph next, and then go back to do Chrono Warden. There we go. Psionic Oracle should have one villain that has no powers whatsoever and is able to match him with intellect. Ooh, I like that idea. What if... should that villain be the team leader? So it's like the team leader not only can go up against Psionic Oracle without powers, but can lead the villains without powers, or is just so powerful with just the intellect that this individual is on par with the other basic group members with a superpowered leader. So think like Lex Luthor being brought on to work for Darkseid or something like that. You know, you have a non-super... Arrow Sylph's power? It was flying, wasn't it? Arrow Sylph's power... Here's all the powers. Yeah, so Arrow Sylph is from Brazil, Fear of Heights. And then... is able to... It's essentially Storm from the X-Men. For a power set. So, the ability to fly, but also has, like, weather-based powers. Sonic Oracle's villain should be led by one without powers. Like, Sonic Oracle's final boss. Okay. So let's go in and take care of... Let's hold off on Chrono Warden, because we're not really talking about Chrono Warden right now. Let's do Arrow Sylph first. Or, wait. Let's do Arrow Sylph first, because that will be nice and simple. Knock that out. Then we'll get Sonic Oracle taken care of. Then we'll go back and take care of Chrono Warden. I feel like Chrono Warden's like low-key got the coolest powers with the time manipulation aspect. I think that's just really, really cool. Arrow Sylph. So let's go into ChatGPT here. We were talking about Arrow Sylph's villains being more technologically based. So let's change Arrow Sylph's... I'm going to type this out. Arrow Sylph's villains to be non-meta humans. Lots of hyphens here. But instead be link the fear of heights to the construction of skyscrapers that is connected with the technology of the villains. And let me reread that again. For Aerosylph, you could link his fear of heights to the construction of skyscrapers that is connected with the technology of his villains. So, like, if you were to get captured, he gets brought to, like, the 80th floor of the skyscraper, and he just gets into his innate fear, you know, hitting him again. Be technologically based. After making this change, please then repeat the previous commands involving motives, modus operandi. I'm just going to keep spelling this out just to make sure it's clear. And personalities to the updated list of villains. Oh, holy cow. For Aerosylph. Let's start with this, because we don't want to get too much information at once into ChatGPT, or else it implodes on itself and gives us 5 villains with the exact same powers as the heroes. You know? So let's just get this implemented, and then we'll come back to a lot of these extra things like the skyscraper topics. It's probably gonna take us 2 commands to take care of Psionic Oracle. So let's do this really quickly, just to kind of keep things relatively organized in our list. Let's come up with one edit that we want to commit to right now. For Chrono Warden, we have Aerosylph here. Something like that, maybe one of Aerosylph's villains is an executive for an airline company. Okay. Why don't we, for now, just keep things organized in ChatGPT so things are relatively easy to find. Let's just come up with one change for the rest of these 3 villains. So essentially we would have, like, I'm pointing, but even though I have my cursor here. Spectre Surge has that basic, they all have the same powers but different personalities. Phoenix Guardians, we've changed to have them all be elemental based. We tried to also change their names, and ChatGPT didn't do that. So let's keep it to one change, one general change, and then get ourselves our motives, MOs, and personalities. Then, we haven't done anything with Chrono Warden yet. We're about to change Aerosylph's villains to being more technologically based rather than superpower based. And we have other things we would change for Aerosylph down the road. And in case we forget those things, please remember. I'll do my best to remember, but remind me after we get this stuff to make these changes. Psionic Oracle then also has a singular villain leader be non-superpowered, where right, was that it, just having the villain leader be non-superpowered? I think that was it. So let's just keep it to one change each for right now, and then we'll add in these extra changes later, so that way ChatGPT doesn't implode on itself. So let's change Aerosylph's villains to be non-metahumans. And I'm going to add in parentheses, non-superpowered. But instead be technologically based. After making this change, please then repeat the previous commands involving motives, modus operandi, and personalities to the updated list of villains for Aerosylph. Send. Certainly, let's change Aerosylph's villains to be technologically based without superhuman abilities, then provide each of them with their things. Okay, here we go. Their names are not changed, though. Quickly reading through this so we don't spend an eternity on this kind of stuff. Storm Shifter, we have Stella, seeks to dominate technology market. creating and selling advanced gadgets for personal gain. Utilizes cutting-edge tech gadgets to hack into systems, disrupt communication networks, and steal valuable data. Or data, if you're that person. Innovative, entrepreneurial, and driven by a desire for financial success. Gail Chameleon, who will probably have these names changed down the line because now they're no longer weather-based. Felix aims to be the ultimate infiltrator, designing advanced stealth technology for covert operations. Uses advanced camouflage suits and holographic tech to infiltrate high-security locations unnoticed. He is adaptable, elusive, and enjoys the thrill of being undetected. Aurora seeks to control the flow of information, using technology to manipulate public perception and create chaos. Ooh, like a influencer. Hacks into media outlets, social networks, and government databases to spread misinformation. She is manipulative, charismatic, and sees information as a powerful tool. Owen desires to disrupt power structures, creating and deploying advanced weaponry to challenge authority. Develops and deploys cutting-edge weapons and gadgets to incite chaos and challenge the status quo. Whereas his personality is rebellious, resourceful, and thrives on the unpredictability of his inventions. Then, Zephyr seeks to create a monopoly on advanced transportation technology, revolutionizing how people move. Develops and markets high-speed, environmentally friendly transportation solutions. He's a visionary, he's charismatic, and believes in the future where technology enhances human mobility. Now, these adjustments provide Aeroself with a team of tech-based adversaries, each with unique motives, advanced gadgets, and distinct personalities, offering a different dimension to the challenges faced by our hero in the cinematic universe. Why don't we take care of Psionic... what was her name? Psionic Oracle? Was that her name? Yeah, Psionic Oracle. So we had said that Psionic Oracle should have the leader of her villainous team be non-superpowered, but highly intelligent to then make him or her on par in terms of relative power to Psionic Oracle. So we'll add that as a singular command for Psionic Oracle's team to make that team semi-unique. Let's repeat the last. All right. Change the leader of Psionic Oracle's team of villains to be non-super powered. Or what if their superpower is the intelligence? They get hit and now their brain functions like 500 times more powerful than any human in recorded history. And now is suddenly like their superpower is their intelligence. So should it just be natural intelligence? Like they're born, they were super smart, and they naturally team up with the villains after they show up? Or should this just be like your average Joe, or maybe slightly above average intelligent individual who then gets hit with this, neutron star radiation, what have you, and then becomes extremely intelligent? Because just because they're extremely intelligent doesn't necessarily mean that has to come from a superpower or just be innate. So that's the question I pose to you guys, and mostly you, Brady, because it's your idea. So, superpowered intelligence or just plain intelligence? I think there's some cool avenues to go down for either one of them. thinking here for Chrono Warden. We have Time Weaver, Chrono Sorcerer, Ageless Hitting. That's a lot of time-based villains. I think it'd be smart also to change around the villains on that team. You know, like that just seems a little OP. Like I feel like that whole, like, if Chrono Warden were to exist in comics or in media with that team of villains, the entire thing is just gonna be like an episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure where it's like, I outsmarted, you're outsmarting. No, sorry, this is Death Note, not JoJo. I know, I outsmarted, you're outsmarting. And it's like, that ends up becoming the whole thing is like, I got there 2 seconds earlier. I got there 2 seconds earlier. And it's like, it just becomes like a playground sort of like argument. Like, I shot you with a ray gun. Well, I have a ray gun proof suit. You know, it's like, it seems very, like, it seems silly to have 6 characters go up against each other with all powers of time manipulation. Like, right? Doesn't that seem a little weird? I think we have to change the powers of everybody on Chrono Warden's team. I weakly lean towards more natural-born intelligence, but I agree that you could do cool things with both ideas. Why don't we do that then? Why don't we stick with the natural intelligence? Because that could be somebody who, like Lex Luthor in DC Comics, is somebody who's already intelligent. Somebody who's already trying to maybe even do good in the world, suddenly have their innate personality clash with the, all good hero, and that makes them the villain. Where in any other, most universes other than the one we watch, Lex Luthor is actually a hero. So in that sense, like, we can kind of take a page from that book and still keep a, naturally intelligent individual. Yeah, so team of supervillains to be the leader of the Sonic Oracle's team, who's the villains, to be non-superpowered, but instead have him/her be the smartest. Should we just say that, like, the smartest individual on the planet? Like, just this person is the smartest human on the planet, flat out. Smartest person on Earth. And with this intelligence, this villain can go toe to toe with Psionic Oracle and others. Then please repeat command involving differing. Also, I changed my mind. Psionic Oracle's villains are all going to have to be super intelligent naturally. I think it'd be more interesting and unique to have intelligence be power. I'll edit that as soon as I finish typing this in. I'll re-edit that before I switch this out. Thank you for stopping me. Repeat the command involving different motives, modus operandi, and personalities for Psionic Oracle's villains. So, rereading your message here. Since Psionic Oracle's villains are all going to have super intelligence and super intelligent naturally, it'd be more interesting and unique to have the intelligence be the power. So let's say exchange to exchange. This is how I'm understanding your message. All abilities besides the intelligence and have that aspect of this villain's powers be far and away more potent than the other villains. So, let's change the leader of Psionic Oracle's team of villains to have exchanged all abilities besides the intelligence. Besides their intelligence. And have that aspect of this villain's powers be far and away more potent, I would say powerful, than the other villains. Then please repeat the command involving different motives, modus operandi, personalities for Psionic Oracle's villains. I think that sounds good. All extra. I'll add extra. Abilities besides their intelligence. Besides the intelligence. Besides the added intelligence. Alright, I'm sending this in. 3, 2, 1, go. Alrighty. So let's just go through these one by one. Evelyn desires to create a utopia governed by superior intellect, where she is the undisputed ruler. Uses her enhanced intelligence to hack into systems, manipulate economies, and control information. She is ruthless, arrogant, and sees herself as the rightful ruler of a new intellectual order. There is our non-superpowered leader, where the intelligence is the power. Victor seeks to accumulate knowledge for personal gain, selling information to the highest bidder. Manipulates information networks, gathering and selling valuable data to the highest bidder. Wait. I think they were all changed. They were all changed. Wait, no. Xavier has telepathic abilities. Okay, so... yeah, because what was the main villain? Like, so... okay, the greatest trait was intellect, but it's mind control and telepathic manipulation. That was Mind Paragon's ability. Mind Paragon was here. So all of these villains that are highlighted essentially have basically intellect as a basic ability. Like, that's their trait, is that they're all inherently intelligent. But these four highlighted here also have telepathic manipulation, and what was the other aspect of the powers? Mind control and telepathic manipulation. So essentially, they're Charles Xavier. You have a team of 4 Charles Xaviers led by a Lex Luthor. That's effectively what we have here in terms of tangible comic book character counterparts. So basically what I'm seeing here is just that, yeah, that 4 Charles Xaviers with a Lex Luthor. So, we got Spectre Surge's villains. We got Phoenix Guardian's villains. We got Aerosylph's villains. We got Psionic Oracle's villains. What should we do about Chrono Warden? I can already tell you right now, I think we should change the villains. None of them should have time powers. I think we should not have any more than one character, villain or hero, to have time powers. Because it's just too... it'd become too wacky if, like, every single character, if you had 6 characters going around just changing when things happened, you know? So either we have to change the rules of the time travel in this universe, or more simply, change out all of the villains, or at least all but one character, to have different powers. What do we suggest? What are we thinking? I'm trying to think myself. So take this off. I wear these all day. So what I'm thinking, if they can't have time, we've already done a lot of characters. Like, we have an entire team of villains that are mostly intelligent. We have another entire team of villains that are technologically based and have no powers. You know, I've already got a lot of characters who are non-superpowered. I don't think we need to go the non-superpowered route again. So why don't we stick with a power set? If we have a hero that can control time, what would be a great villain, a great theming of villains' powers to counteract a time-powered superhero that is a power that we have yet to use, or at least use in that specific way for our villains here? Because I'm trying to think here. If you're time-based, you know, one thing that could be powerful is, of course, that big question, you know, what if I go back and make these changes? Like, you look at the big story of Flashpoint was Barry wants to go back and save his mom. He does so. He succeeds. But all of those changes in the timeline create a ripple effect, and now so many things have changed. So maybe there's a villain who's like, if you, I don't know why this popped in my head. If you rewatch Breaking Bad, Walter White explains that chemistry is the science of change. You can make the villains literal gods. Yeah, that I think maybe that could work. Maybe what if, like, so for me, I think, like, well, the one thing that a time-based superhero is going to be tempted by a lot is change, because they're going to want to go back and change things. So if you basically make a supervillain's powers based off the laws of change, which is a lot of things to do with chemistry, what if the villains are matter manipulators? That's my pitch. They don't necessarily need to be gods. Effectively, we're making 30 different gods, or at least 25 if you count just the superpowered ones. That's effectively what we're making, is 25 different gods. So, to me, my mind goes towards matter manipulation. Because I feel like matter manipulation, you know, literal change, going against a hero whose power tempts, because we don't know if Chrono Warden's male or female. We don't know, like, to tempt Chrono Warden, since Chrono Warden is tempted likely to make change with the powers, then the villains should be all about change. And so matter manipulation, I think, is a pretty solid area to go for. Like, would matter manipulation make you a god by definition? Not necessarily. I mean, as like I said, essentially we're making 25 different gods. If you have the intelligence to essentially be smarter than everybody else in the world, then by extension, you're going to essentially be seen as a god. If you have the ability to create fire, aren't you a god of fire. If you have the power to control time, are you like Kronos? You know, there's a lot of, like, essentially we're making 25 different gods. So considering it sounds like we're actually on the same page, just with different explanations. Oh. I basically sit in this chair all day long. I'm glad I got a comfortable chair. Because I work from home. I love the freedom of working from home. But that also means I spend 12 with a stream and some extra stuff. I easily spend minimum 12 hours a day in this chair. I don't agree that simply giving someone superpowers makes somebody a god. Fair enough. Fair enough. What are your thoughts just on the matter of manipulation power in general? Because this isn't just my universe. This isn't just ChatGPT's universe. This isn't just all of you guys in chat. And I'm mostly working with you, Brady. This isn't just any one of our universes. This is like everything. So like, if we're on agreements, ChatGPT is just going to spit at us out answers. ChatGPT doesn't have to agree to anything. But if we can agree, then we're golden. If you don't agree, then you don't agree. That's fine. We'll figure something out. Just taking a look here at other things. Let's go back up here. So, that's temporal enchantress. Temporal Enchantress is all about time distortion, allowing her to age or de-age objects and people. But Chrono Warden has a fear of losing loved ones, essentially also reconnecting back to the Flashpoint idea. So the time manipulation, allowing the ability to stop, slow, or reverse time briefly. So, thinking here. It sounds like the reverse time briefly means like you can't go more than just a handful of seconds into the past. Excuse me. So, like the idea, I think you're going to have to work to make any villain of Chrono Warden work, especially if you're not allowing any of them to share his powers. That's true. So, let's look at the makeup of each of the 5 teams. Shadow Maven's team is all the same powers, except they use them differently. Inferno Tyrants team, or I guess Phoenix Guardian's villain set, are all different powered villains based off different elements. Where that way we don't have 6 fire characters running around. It creates more variety. For Aerosylph, we have 5 technological based villains. And for Psionic Oracle, we have an extremely superpowered villain, likely to end up being the leader of the crime family, our entire like Legion of Doom, if you will. And everybody else is essentially a Charles Xavier. And so, looking at Chrono Warden, I mean, essentially you have the time traveling aspect of the Flash, except here's the thing, I think Chrono Warden already kind of has a built-in mechanic that kind of helps us in this way. It says time manipulation, allowing the ability to slow, stop, or even reverse time briefly. This would allow Chrono Warden to not just something went wrong, let's go 20 years into the past and change something. No, I think Chrono Warden's abilities only allow him or her to go back probably no more than 10 to 15 seconds, or somewhere in that range. Probably no more than 5, 10, or 15 seconds, and prevent something then from happening. You can't go back and get all the Infinity Stones like that. Like, if you want that kind of time travel, you have to come up with some comic book bullshit to get into the past. But Chrono Warden, if something were to happen, like were to get shot, and he or she's able to notice, oh, I just got shot in the leg, you can kind of go backwards a little bit. What's another aspect that like change? So like I'm thinking like matter manipulation. Circe from the Eternals has this ability, where she can change any material into any other material as long as it's non-living. Just to see if we can't, play devil's advocate against ourselves and find another superpower that can work here. I mean, the other solution is just hop into another... Wait a minute. I just noticed something. I just got a, Oh, okay. That's something else. Never mind. I came up with ideas of, like, different questions we could ask. This is just me testing, see if ChatGPT was going to work before stream started. Of different questions we could ask once we got into the thick of things. After we, like, figured out, dynamics and things like that. So, sometimes I need a little bit of help, I'm not gonna lie. But here, like, if we're trying to figure out, go a little longer than 10 to 15 seconds, maybe like 20 to 30 minutes if he concentrates, maybe his ability grows with practice, akin to the movie Chronicle. I love the movie name. I love the name drop there with Chronicle. Chronicle's one of my all-time favorites. I love Chronicle. Maybe, like, it's a muscle. He expands it. What would you say is his absolute limit? No matter how hard he works, he has a hard limit. Like, what, an hour? He will never be able to go further than an hour into the past. It's kind of like Kitty Pryde when in Days of Future Past. She tries to, the reason that Wolverine has to go back is because his brain can heal as long as his brain can heal as much as it gets destroyed. So that's why he can survive a jump like 50 years in the past, where another character can only survive a handful of moments. Like, how far can he go into the past before he breaks? Or what if one of the villains has the matched ability? Well, wait. So, Phantom Deceiver. Wait, who? The Temporal Enchantress, like, who would likely be the arch enemy for Chrono Warden, essentially has the ability to age people. You know what? We're spending a lot of time on this. Let's commit to the matter manipulation, and then we can talk about. We never specified his maximum potential since he's continuing to grow. He max point he actually reaches might be something like 2 to 3 hours if he risks cardiac arrest or something. Fair enough. I'm with you on that. So let's have the villains be matter manipulators. Let's have one villain stay time-based. Right? Do you want one villain to kind of stay time-based and have the other 4 be matter manipulators? Because essentially you'd have Shadow Maven have, everybody has the same powers as each other, not the hero. Inferno Tyrant has all their villains' powers be different. All technologically based powers. All similar powers, so basically a bunch of Charles Xavier's and a Lex Luthor going up against a Madame Xanadu. And now you have a time traveler going up against matter manipulators. And maybe one other time traveler. Let's keep one time traveler on the villain side, and then 4 matter manipulators. This way, each team could have that, you know, brief time traveler. And then, yeah, we definitely don't need 6 time travelers. That's way too many. Even 1 to 2 is a lot. I think one should be death themed. What do you mean death themed? Like, what if we keep Temporal Enchantress? Temporal Enchantress is still aging and de-aging, where all the other 4 villains just become matter manipulators. We just keep this aspect because this can still be about death and life, where she can allow people to essentially be immortal, and she can just age everybody else out. You know? That's where my brain goes. So, let's go and start inputting this. Oh, one of the villains be Death himself. So we have Death, the personification of death itself. The personification of death itself. We have Temporal Enchantress, who... Ooh. We have Death be the leader. Temporal Enchantress is your loyal servant to Death, who is able to allow anybody to meet death by aging them out of life, or prevent anybody from being allowed to die by de-aging them back to, you know, youth. And then the other 3 villains are matter manipulators. That's pretty original. That I don't know if that's really been done a whole lot of other areas. Maybe something similar, you know, but I think that could be really cool. Where let's see if we do that. So let's change Chrono Warden's team of villains to villain lineup. Swap out one villain for the personification of death as its own humanoid character with Temporal Enchantress unchanged. Serve Death with her powers, allowing her to grant people to live/die. Change the other 3, 5 total in team against Chrono Warden to be matter manipulators, to have matter manipulation for their powers. Then repeats the past commands about modus operandi and personalities for this updated roster of villains for Chrono Warden. That's a lot. That's a lot. So let's hope this is worded well. Let's change Chrono Warden's villain lineup. Swap out one villain for the personification of death as its own humanoid character, with Temporal Enchantress unchanged, serving death with her powers, allowing her to grant people to live or die. Change the other five villains total. Don't you hate it when you have a sneeze and it just stops? Now it just lingers. Change the other five villains total in team against Chrono Warden to have matter manipulation for their powers. Then repeat the past commands about motives, modus operandi, and personalities for this updated roster of villains for Chrono Warden. I think that's worded well. Very matter of fact. Let's submit it and get this last set of villains. And almost over 2 hours into the stream, we have now figured out the basics of all of our villains. But this is the basics. We got our heroes, we got our villains. Let's see here. We just got a personality, modus operandi, and personality for Chrono Warden. But we got it all for the villains too, so I mean, hey, Boston's still not a fan of multiple matter manipulators. I'm genuinely sorry. Did I miss something? I didn't know you were not a fan of the multiple matter manipulators. Oh, you did say one being matter manipulation. Okay, I missed that. I missed that. As of right now, here's the new team. I didn't read the full chat. That's on me. Certainly, let's modify Chrono Warden's villain lineup, introducing Death as humanoid character and keeping Temporal Enchantress in a service role. The other three villains would have matter manipulation powers. After that, we'll go through the commands about motives, modus operandi, and personalities. Chrono Warden's updated team. Temporal Enchantress, Sylvia serves Death, aiming to maintain the balance between life and death by manipulating time. Controls the lifespan of individuals, either extending or shortening it based on Death's will. She is mysterious, enigmatic, and sees herself as a guardian of the temporal balance. Death, personification. Control over life and death, allowing him to influence the mortality of individuals. Death seeks to maintain the natural order and balance between life and death in the universe, and appears when somebody's time is up, ensuring the natural flow of life transitions smoothly. Stoic, impartial, and follows a cosmic sense of justice. So we essentially have the Grim Reaper. Matter Shaper. Adrian, and we can change these down the line. Adrian desires to reshape reality using his matter manipulation abilities for personal gain. He alters the properties of objects, creating illusions and changing the structure of matter. He is ambitious, eccentric, and sees reality as a canvas for his artistic manipulation. Maya Matera seeks to explore the limits of matter manipulation, experimenting with reality-altering abilities. Creates intricate sculptures and constructs using her control over molecular structures. Inquisitive, creative, and finds joy in pushing the boundaries of her powers. Quantum Artisan. Felix gains to exploit matter manipulation for technological advancements and personal gain. Designs and constructs advanced devices by manipulating the fundamental building blocks of matter. He's inventive, pragmatic, and values the practical applications of his matter manipulating abilities. While reading all this, and this is all just extra stuff about like Chrono Warden, it had also applied the 3 aspects to Chrono Warden, which you can read here. One idea I had, so that way we go down to 2 matter manipulators at the very least, is that a big thing that's paired a lot with time is the power of space. So what if we have one of these villains be a teleporter? Whether it's basically we're making somebody who can fold space, create wormholes, if you will. That's an idea. Because right now I'm not gonna lie, my brain is kind of defaulting to the Infinity Stones. So you have the Time Stone, that's our hero. We essentially have 3 Reality Stones. And then you have a Time Stone villain. We have a bunch of villains who are already like super smart and can read minds and stuff like that. You already have the Death, which in a way can be soul, because you're taking the souls of the dead. Then you have power. I mean, everybody has powers. And I don't think I'm missing one. You have power, space, time, reality. Power, space, time, reality, mind, and soul. I mean, if we give... I don't think we have any heroes that have the power of, like, manipulating space itself. Not, like, outer space. I'm talking, like, space between me and my computer and you and your phone or computer, whatever you're watching this on. So what if we change, say... one of our 3 matter manipulators to being a spatial manipulator. We already got all of our villains laid out. We can start editing different villains. And here, what I'm gonna actually do really quick is I'm just gonna have ChatGPT give me a command. I'm just gonna command it just to kind of bring everything back into place. So please list all of our heroes and villains again with their powers listed with them. I think that's the start of a good idea. I think you would want to expand beyond just the ability to teleport because of Chrono Warden's powers. Fair enough. Shouldn't be much of a problem to deal with. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. So we can brainstorm some other ideas while I get the rest of all our characters relisted in one place, so we can just kind of see. We don't have to keep scrolling. We have all of these details. Let's get kind of a checkpoint in ChatGPT here. Relist all our heroes and villains again with their powers and summaries listed with them. With a brief summary of each of them. Please relist all our heroes and villains again with a brief summary of each of them. Let's just do that. It didn't do all the villains. All right, let's try this again. Can I delete this? Is it just... I wish I can delete some of this, you know? I really wish I could delete this. Can you delete the last command in response? Okay. So we're kind of stuck. If we accidentally say something, we're kind of stuck. Which will be interesting. So... unfortunately, we can't change this. So... okay, so here's what we have. We have each of our heroes here. Okay, so we have 6 villain teams. It never deleted Temporal Enchantress's group. So let's redo this and have it be deleting Temporal Enchantress's group, since that team is now Chrono Warden's villain team. Can you relist the heroes and villains again, though this time deletes this time was it neglect? Ignore Temporal Enchantress group, since they were recategorized as Chrono Warden's updated team. I'll just say leave out alright, so there's all the heroes. There we go. Now we have another summary. Alright, how long have we been going? 2.5 hours. Holy cow, we've been going for a while. But, hey, we spent 2.5 hours. We're building this up slowly. We don't have any movies yet. But what we do have as of right now, and it's starting to get pretty late for me, why don't we take a few notes? I don't think we should add any more tonight. Starting to get late for me. I have work in the morning. why don't we do this? Let's all take notes. Again, this might be through my computer on the YouTube channel and on the Twitch channel. But it's all of our universe. I'm going to kind of scroll this up a little bit. There you go. Here is the basics. So, with this being the basics of each of the characters, if you will, each team of villains, and then each hero. We can come up with things on our own time. We'll come back. I think we should probably make this a weekly thing. We kind of work on this maybe once a week, come up with ideas. In the meantime, meet again. For now, let's just say Wednesdays. I'll keep it updated. I'll keep it updated on the channel if things happen to change. But for now, let's just kind of keep this as like a Wednesday thing. We get together and build the universe just a little bit every couple hours, 2 to 3 hours every Wednesday night. And so with this, we essentially have each of our heroes, a team of villains, each very unique to each hero. Except for Shadow Maven. Her team is kind of our default of all the villains have the same powers, but yeah. Like that plan? Alright, so why don't we end the stream, not like end the stream, but let's close out by, I'm going to just kind of write down a couple of notes. What were we talking about earlier that we didn't quite get to? Grab this notebook here. I'm going to mute just a second so I move my microphone. Alright. Pulled out my notebook. I'm physically going to write this stuff down, just so that way I can't forget it. I wrote a lot more in here than I thought. Alright. So we talked about Arrow Sylph's villains being technologically based. We changed that. Sonic Oracle should have a villain that's no powers whatsoever. We took care of that aspect of it, just being the power is the intelligence. For Arrow Sylph, so I'm just gonna write here ChatGPT universe. So for no, not Sonic Oracle. We talked about Arrow Sylph. Arrow Sylph has fear of heights linked to villains, skyscrapers. One villain is head of airline company. Intelligence, we talked about intelligence being a power, matter manipulators. That's right, we were talking about a lot about the matter manipulation thing. So I'm going to do that really quickly. We talked about replace 2 matter manipulator villains. One will become space. I was just say spatial manipulator. Plus, just as in like plus more abilities, plus maybe if that's the one thing this person does, they're really good at it to compete with a time-based villain or time-based hero, excuse me. And something else to do with laws/change. And then the other thing we were talking about was with Chrono Warden's powers being similar to the telekinesis in Chronicle. So I'll just write that aspect down. Chrono Warden's powers work similarly to characters. Damn it, now I want to rewatch that movie. It's such a good movie. Probably one of my favorite non-Marvel DC superhero movies is Chronicle. I love that movie. Is there anything else? Yeah, I think we got it. There are my notes. You can see them literally written there. Boom. They're written down. So the next time that we decide to do this, I think Wednesdays is pretty solid. If things happen to change, I'll make a post on the YouTube channel. Again, if you are watching this on Twitch and do not know that YouTube channel, just look up my name. My name, Kevin Todashek, on YouTube, and you will find that. You should know because it's an old picture of me when I had short hair and with the cat on the shoulders. What time? Undecided. Tonight happened to be 8 p.m. So for now, let's just kind of plan on that kind of 7:30, 8 p.m. time frame. So, I think that will work just fine. So let's kind of plan on like a 7:30, 8 o'clock kind of time frame. So, yeah. If you haven't joined the Discord, be sure to click the link and join the Discord. It's Todashek. What kind of name is that? It's a Czechoslovakian one. Which time zone am I in? Oh, yeah, sorry. 7:30, 8 p.m. Central. I live in Minnesota. I go by Central Time. So 7:30, 8 p.m. Central Time. When I used to stream on Twitch, that was like the biggest thing. I had a lot of people who watched who were from England. And, well, primarily like the UK/Great Britain. I know they're different. I know they're different from each other. I had a lot of people watching from like England and Scotland and countries over there, and so they were like 6 years ahead. You just completely blanked. Me, didn't you? I completely blanked. Minnesota's Mountain Time. Minnesota is not Mountain Time. Minnesota is Central Time. Central Time is a lot of times nicknamed Chicago Time, and we're like exactly like almost directly just a little northwest of Chicago. Minnesota is in Central Time there, bud. Oh, for sure, you betcha there. A lot of people get the Minnesotan accent kind of really wrong when it comes to like movies and TV. They really think it's just really high pitched, and we go up and down all the time. And You add that with like elongating your O's, which we do up here in Minnesota. We do elongate our O's a lot. But one thing about Minnesotans is that we tend to go a little more monotone when we talk. When you go over to Wisconsin, then you're going to start dealing with a lot of people talking through their nose a little bit. You have that go, pack, go kind of thing. Well, the Iowans, they sound really stupid because they like living there. And then you go up into Canada, and with Canada, they speak a little bit more staccato, so they're going to... Oh, sorry, not Canada. This is Chicago. In Chicago, you got more of a staccato in your speaking. I don't know why I said Canada. But I've noticed when I say Minnesota, sometimes I just completely have the accent and can't do it on purpose. Yeah, here, I just kind of did it, but just to kind of recap, here's your basics to the upper Midwest accents. Hope they're in Minnesota, you're going to have the low, deep, fairly monotone sort of speak with the longer vowels, and it's going to be a little slower when you talk. Oh, for sure, you betcha there, bud. Be careful, we gotta go and postpone your boat show, if you're going up towards Duluth, you live down here in the Twin Cities, you're going to have to go up and stop by Toby's and get yourself a caramel roll. We got to get them caramel rolls for the road up there to Duluth. And then once you start going down in Wisconsin, you're going to start talking through your nose a bit more. So, Wisconsinites over there, when they're not drinking all the time and watching the Packers, they have that go, can't go kind of talking through their nose a little bit. There's your Wisconsinites. But then you start to, add a bit of a staccato to it. So you have the Wisconsin, but you add that staccato, you're going to be, really short and separated. Then you have yourself your Chicagoans, you got Chicago. Doll Bears. There's your Chicago there. And then you got your Iowans, and the Iowans are just really stupid because they decide to live in that pointless state. And then even more pointless than Iowa, you have North Dakota. North Dakota, okay, not pointless, but equally as bad, but they at least have a point, and that's oil. And then South Dakota is just beautiful with the Badlands. And you have watched Mount Rushmore. Nebraska, you got corn. You got corn in Nebraska at least. I'll smack you when I see you somehow. Yeah. You won't be able to reach there, bud. And then Canada, well, you take a Minnesotan accent, add the metric system in Celsius, and add in an A instead of a and you got yourself Canada. There's your basics of all of the upper Midwest accents. But that all being said, we've been streaming for just under 3 hours. I'm tired. I have work in the morning. And we just talked a lot of comics. Right there are your basics. If you want a copy of that, go ahead and just take your screenshot, whatever. Now you got me in there. Of course, this VOD is going to stay on YouTube. I can keep this VOD public. I usually unlist the streams when we're done. But I can keep this VOD public so that way you guys can rewatch it, and if you need to reference something, this resource will still be there in case you got really into it and you want to think some more on it on your own time. By all means, I'll keep the VOD public. So, that all being said, tentatively, 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish Central Standard Time. As right now in Central Standard Time, it is currently 10:47 p.m. Just for your reference. We'll do this probably again next Wednesday, and then at some point, whether it's just this stream or with future streams, these will be edited down and relatively minimally edited to be in a long form video. How long those videos end up being, I don't know, but it'd be really cool to kind of talk about this whole universe. It'd be really, really cool. So, thank you all for watching, and have a very lovely night, and we'll see you next time. Also, no stream tomorrow. I have plans tomorrow evening, so no stream tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.